You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Snow this morning here in Detroit. The game was somewhat in doubt, but it's cleared up. Players got out there, started warming up. They started to defrost the ground, and we are ready for baseball as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. This afternoon, it's the New York Yankees against the Detroit Tigers in the middle game of a three-game set from Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees started this series, and they could not get much offensively against Jordan Zimmerman, and as always, they couldn't really slow down Miguel Cabrera.
Yes, Miguel Cabrera is one of the greatest of all time. But Jordan Zimmerman making his Tiger debut, a 5-year, $110 million deal. That's a pretty good first impression as he shut out the Yankees over 7 innings. And then, of course, Miguel Cabrera, one of the greatest right-handed hitters, certainly of his generation, probably of all time. Got Luis Cessa with a big home run to right, and those numbers sort of substantiate the point I just made.
You always like to keep good company, David. 400-plus home runs, 1,400-plus ribbies by the age of 32. Look at the names. Nice company indeed. Oh, let's look at today. Today's pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank N.A. See what know-how can do for you. Mike Pelfrey will get the start for the Tigers. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. And for the Yankees, it's CC Sabathia. And David, the Yankees are hoping they see September CC here in this start.
Yes, Sabathia actually did finish very strongly last September with wearing finally a knee brace on his land leg. So he really credited that with helping him get through his pitches. As you see, Sabathia no longer the power pitcher. You're going to have to see a lot of mixing it up, a lot of sliders, a lot of changeups. He's got a new cutter this spring that he's shown and broke out with the help of Andy Pettit, who had one of the best cutters. So CC Sabathia is still trying to reinvent himself at the end of his career. He's facing a tough test against this Tiger lineup.
All right, this story is about CC today. So many people curious what the veteran lefty will bring. We'll hear from him and Meredith Barakovitz next when we return right here on Yes.
Start of the 2016 season. It's been a long road for CC, both on and off of the field. Earlier this spring, he spoke about his decision to go to rehab.
It was something I felt like I needed to do just to be, a better teammate, husband, father, baseball player. And, I feel like I've given so much of my life and, playing hurt and doing different things to baseball that it was time for me to take some time out and take care of myself.
And CC Sabathia is eager to contribute. He said yesterday his changeup could play a big role not only in this one but throughout the course of the 2016 season. Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. CC gets the ball. Kay with the call. He'll be joined by David Cohn after the break.
Baseball game here in Detroit under somewhat adverse conditions. Right now it's 31 degrees and there are snow flurries here at Comerica Park as they exchange the lineup cards at home plate. And why don't we take a look at the official weather presented by our good friends at Bigelow Tea. It is 31 degrees, the wind is 15 miles per hour, the humidity is 52%, and the forecast is mostly cloudy and cold, possible snow showers. I would think, David, that it's probably easier to play in snow than it is in rain. Am I right?
I would take flurries like this over rain without a doubt. You know, the rain, well, you get soggy on the mound. You get wet. Boy, not only does that affect your grip, but you can stiffen up. Your arm can stiffen up on you. So, as you see there in that dugout, there will be heaters in that dugout to keep those guys somewhat warm when they aren't on the field. But nonetheless, baseball wasn't meant to be played in below freezing weather.
Do you know that this is the 20th anniversary, this date, in 1996 of that great snow game where Andy Pettitte pitched 6 in the 3rd inning? So you were there, you didn't play in that game, but you certainly saw, and that was a heavy snow that day.
It really was. I can still picture Andy Pettitte peering over his glove on the mound, as he always did before he started his windup, and the snowflakes beaming down on top of him. So it was quite a memorable day, and Andy Pettitte with a real gutsy performance that day as well.
Yeah, the Yankees won that game 7-3 over the Royals. So they take on the Tigers today. We'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup as the Tigers have taken the field. And the starting lineup is presented by Lexus. Jacoby Ellsbury in center field will lead off, batting second, playing left, Brett Gardner. A-Rod, the DH, will hit third. Cleaning up first baseman, Mark Teixeira. Brian McCann's going to catch, he'll bat fifth, batting sixth, playing right field, Carlos Beltran. Starlin Castro, the second baseman, that's seventh today. Getting a day off is Chase Headley. Didi Gregorius at shortstop will bat eighth. And replacing Headley at third base is Ronald Torreyes. He is going to bat ninth.
Here's the tall righty, Mike Pelfrey. Make his Tigers debut, similar to Jordan Zimmerman from last year. And you see those numbers are with Minnesota last year. The record's not so great. See, he's not a power guy. Gives up hits, but keeps the ball on the ground. Signed a 2-year deal here, and let's go ahead and give you the pitcher's scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And he really has reinvented himself, much like Sabathia is trying to do, with a sinker-splitter combo that gets him a lot of ground balls. 2.14 ground ball to fly ball ratio is the 5th best in the American League last year, and he limits the long ball. That's how you get a 2-year deal towards the end of your career. He only gave up 11 home runs and 164 and a 2/3 innings last year, and that's really good. And then doubling up, he gets, as we said, he gets the ground balls with that sinker splitter combo. He had 29 ground ball double plays last year, which led all of baseball and tied with John Lackey as well in that category. So that's a lot of ground ball double plays.
I'll tell you though, coming off a 6-11 record is David Detail, 4.26 to get a 2-year contract worth $16 million. Some eyebrows around baseball certainly were raised, so let's see if he can make that investment by the Tigers look good. Pelfrey's ready. Ellsbury digging in. He's ready. And let's do it here in Detroit. First pitch, a fastball strike, and we are underway. Paul Emmel is the home plate umpire. Tim Timmons at first. Laz Diaz is the second base ump, and Mike Everett is over at third. So the Yankees that got rested yesterday are back in the lineup today. A-Rod and Beltran, who did pinch hit at the end of the game, and McCann. And as I mentioned, Headley gets the rest today. Nothing wrong with him, just a rest. Fouled away and out of play.
New York baseball fans will obviously remember Mike Pelfrey, the former #1 draft with the Mets, was once a power guy. First-round pick out of Wichita State University.
Swing and a miss. Ellsbury down on strikes. Why don't we check out the Tiger defense, which is presented by Geico. In the outfield, you've got Upton, Ghost, and J.D. Martinez. That's left to right. In the infield, Mike Aviles gets to start at third. Castellanos was great yesterday with 4 hits. He takes a seat. Iglesias, Kinsler, and Cabrera round out the infield. James McCann is behind the plate. Mike Pelfrey is on the mound. So here's Brett Gardner. Pitch upstairs. These two teams go at it again tomorrow night, the ESPN Sunday night game. Although everything you're hearing, it seems that that game is in doubt. Really bad weather reports, snow and rain, really cold temperatures, but you know, things do change. We'll see. There's a base hit through the right side for Brett Gardner. That's going to bring up A-Rod. Alex had the full day off yesterday. Did not pinch hit. Played 151 games last year, and the Yankees just think that that's too many games for a guy who's going to be 40 this year. And they think that the heavy workload after having that year off to suspension probably led to his 6 weeks of really subpar baseball at the end of the year. There's a strike.
Really across the board, Michael. I think that's why you're seeing Chase Headley sitting today too, as he had trouble in the second half. And there's no real backup third baseman last year for Joe Girardi to use. I think Joe Girardi raised some eyebrows with his lineup of yesterday. Really trying to get ahead of the curve, as he said, in terms of the rotation and resting some of the guys in this lineup with age on their, kind of giving them trouble on the age factor.
Because of the addition of Castro, the Yankees' average age is actually, for the first time in a long time, dropped below 30 years. It's 29.8 or 9. So they are trying to get younger and a little more athletic, but you've still got older players on the team like Teixeira and Alex and CeCe and Beltran, so that brings the age up. Snap throw to first. Gardner's back. Two-one count on Alex.
You could hear Alex with the, once again. We have a great audio at home plate as Miguel Cabrera tried to do a little hidden ball trick there. Fake like he was going to throw it back to the pitcher and hold on to it.
Runner goes. Swung on and missed. Throw to second. Got him. Boy, McCann's really showing a gun back there, and he throws out Brett Gardner. Made a pretty good throw yesterday as well.
Yeah, this is going to take a perfect throw too, because Gardner's got a decent jump. You see a little peek back, but the throw is right on the money. Tag clearly there in time.
Count 2-2 on Alex. David mentioned that Pelfrey, a former first-round draft pick of the Mets, that was in 2005. And it's strange to be a first-round draft pick. He did not even play the game of baseball till he was 11. His friends were short and asked him if he'd come out and play to even up the sides, and he did, and ends up becoming a big leaguer.
Yeah, 6'7", 240 pounds, was a real power arm his first couple of years with the Mets. They projected him to be a #1 type starter, 95 miles an hour plus. Came up with some arm injuries and did really reinvent himself as a sinker splitter guy.
High drive, left center field, deep. That ball is gone. A home run for Alex Rodriguez to one of the deepest parts of the ballpark. His first home run of the year, and just like that, the Yankees have a lead.
Well, you said it, Michael. That is a blast off of a guy who doesn't give up a lot of home runs. This pitch is right down the middle, just above the knees, and Alex just goes down, drops the barrel of the bat, and drives this out.
Fouled away by Teixeira. That's home run number 688.
On a cold day, that ball went a long ways.
So Alex was hitless until he got 2 hits at the end of the final game of the Astros series. So now he has single, single, and home run in his last 3 at-bats. A-Rod had a home run in his first at-bat in spring training, then did not hit a home run the rest of spring training. And now he picks up his first home run of the year in Game 5 of the season. Tipped into the glove of McCann, and that will do it. But Alex Rodriguez goes yard with this swing. He gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead, and he moves to within 12 of 700 career home runs. Tigers starting lineup, put together by manager Brad Ausmus. Ian Kinsler, the second baseman, off to a great start. He'll lead off. Batting second, playing left, Justin Upton. Miguel Cabrera at first base will hit third. Cleaning up the DH, Victor Martinez. J.D. Martinez, the right fielder, bats fifth. Batting sixth and catching, James McCann. Jose Iglesias, the shortstop, will bat seventh. Batting eighth, playing third base, Mike Aviles. And Anthony Gose in center field will bat ninth.
CC Sabathia, familiar number 52 on his back. Those are the numbers from last year, 29 starts, 50 walks, 167 in the third innings, and you see the rest. And let's go ahead and check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And yes, he is. He's trying to reinvent himself, and by way of Andy Pettit, teaching him that cutter. And CC really did look different in spring training. Threw a lot of cut fastballs in the mid to upper 80s. I think we're going to see that today against all of these right-handed hitters. And what works off of that cutter is that changeup. So I expect to see more changeups as well.
Here's Ian Kinsler off to a great start, 7 for 15 with a .429 on base percentage. And there's a strike. Meredith Moragovich joins us in the booth, and he has some news, Meredith.
Some very interesting news, Michael, coming out of Tampa. Nick Swisher is actually there working out at the Yankees minor league complex. He's anticipated to sign a minor league deal within the next day. They're working him out. He's going to have a physical if everything goes well. It looks like he's going to add some depth to this organization. They expect him to DH, play first base, a little bit of outfield. So another option should something happen to Mark Teixeira.
I'll tell you what, that surprises me. So many people asked, would the Yankees sign Swisher? And I said, I didn't think so, because he struggled so much the last couple of years. As Kinsler fouls it away. Offensively, it just hasn't been there for Nick, to the point that the Indians practically gave him away to the Braves, and then the Braves ate all that money, which the Indians ate some of it because they sent money along in the deal. The Braves just released him, so the Yankees get a very inexpensive look. Grounded to first. Nice stop there by Teixeira, and he beats Kinsler to the bag, one away. Now, Swisher was with the team from 09 to 12, won a championship with them as well. Loved playing here with the Yankees, so you know he's probably very excited.
Well, just kind of a reaction again to the Greg Bird injury and the lack of depth at first base, as you mentioned, Michael, and it really is, you know, a move to counteract Greg Bird's injury. Obviously, if something does happen to Teixeira every day, I don't think the Yankees feel like Dustin Ackley could play every day at first base.
There's Justin Upton. Now, Upton had his first game at home as a Tiger yesterday, and the first time he came up to the plate, the public address announcer here at Comerica Park said, now batting B.J. Upton. And he was asked about it, if it upset him after the game. He said, no. He said, everybody makes mistakes. It's early in the season for that guy, too. B.J. Upton isn't even what B.J. Upton's called anymore. He's Melvin Upton Jr. But Melvin and / B.J. is Justin's brother. It's a big test for CC against this lineup, David, because of the right-handed lean to this lineup. He's got a lot of guys that he's got to get out, and he's much better against lefties. The numbers are much better against lefties, but he's got a lot of right-handed tests, including the guy on deck, Miguel Cabrera.
Well, you could already tell, you know, from Sabathia's velocity, you know, you're not going to see anything over 90 miles an hour very often from Sabathia, especially here on a cold day. But the thing I noticed in spring training was a lot more cut fastballs, especially into right-handed batters. So you're going to see two-seam fastballs like that, down and away, and cut fastballs in, and then a lot more change-ups. As Sabathia really has talked about finding the right grip, you know, sort of working on that changeup grip, tweaking it right and left, finding the right one that'll give him the proper fade down and away that complements that cutter in.
A lot of strikeouts for Justin Upton early in the season. That's 2 outs. Justin struck out 3 times yesterday.
Obviously, McCann wants it in, and Sabathia does. He gets it up above the belt, and that seems to be the hole for Justin Upton right now. He's swung through more than a half a dozen of those style of pitches above the belt over the 2 games so far here at Comerica.
Here's Miguel Cabrera. Those are the numbers against Sabathia. 10 for 32 with 2 home runs. You know, Cabrera's such a good hitter, and we saw it yesterday. You keep the ball away, and he's going to go the other way, has great power the other way. And with 2 strikes, he'll adjust the swing and just serve it into right field. He did that against Severino. Hits the ball the other way, down the right field line. And it's out of play. Why don't we check out the Yankees defense presented by Geico. In the outfield, Gardner, Ellsbury, and Beltran. That's left to right. Infield, Torreyes gets the start for Headley at third. Then you've got Gregorius, Castro, and Teixeira rounding out the infield. Brian McCann behind the plate. And Karsten Charles Sabathia is on the mound. One, 2. High pop-up on the right side. Beltran's there to put it away, and the Tigers go down in order, 1, 2, 3. So A-Rod's home run holding up as the Yankees lead 1-0 as we go to the second. On Sunday, April 17th, when the Yankees take on the Mariners. It's calendar day, and all guests in attendance are going to receive a 2016 Yankees calendar courtesy of MasterCard. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees Clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Mike Pelfrey out for his second inning of work. Yankees lead 1-0, and Brian McCann is going to lead it off, and he can't get to the plate soon enough against Pelfrey. Lifetime 19 for 42 against Pelfrey, 10 extra base hits, 11 runs batted in, and an OPS of 1.317. Gaudy. Inside. As a pitcher, would you know those numbers against a hitter who hit you well, or would you just know he hit you well?
I think you would know. I mean, that's a fairly significant amount of at-bats. It's not, you know, I mean, obviously a small sample size, but in individual matchups, 40 at-bats, it's pretty indicative of Brian McCann liking what he's seen coming out of Pelfrey's hand.
Now, do you then pitch him differently, David, or do you just try to make your pitches better?
You try to execute your pitches better, but you would try to mix it up, maybe give him a different look. With thing about Pelfrey is he walked 45 batters last year. 40 of those were against left-handed hitters. So he only walked 5 batters facing righties. So clearly an advantage for lefties off of Pelfrey. An on-base percentage across the board.
Line drive, a base hit for Brian McCann. So his dominance of Pelfrey continues, now 20 for 43. Yankees have 3 hits against Pelfrey so far.
McCann's been swinging the bat very well, and you can almost see right here as Pelfrey's going to look at McCann down the first base line. So that kind of answers your question, Michael. A shake of his head, like, again, here we go.
There's Carlos Beltran. And the pitch is low. Three infielders on the right side. Cabrera holding on McCann at first. One and one. Yankees 2-2 in their first 4 games. The Tigers have yet to lose. They're 3-0. 2 wins against the Marlins in Miami, and then the 4-0 win over the Yankees yesterday. One and two.
Pelfrey, obviously not a strikeout guy at all, just had 86 strikeouts last year in 164 2/3 innings. Very much of a contact style pitcher.
And that gets past McCann, and it allows McCann to go to second. Scored a wild pitch.
Yeah, there are wild pitches, and then there are really wild pitches. And that's in the other batter's box, and McCann really no chance to try to corral that one.
Count 3-2 on Beltran. On deck is Starlin Castro. Doing some lace work. Brian McCann leads off second. We're in the second, nobody out. Yankees lead 1-0 on the A-Rod home run. Grounded to first. That will get McCann over. Cabrera steps on the bag, one away. Let's take a look at the RBI leaders so far this year in the American League. Starlin Castro, Josh Donaldson, and the Red Sox Brock Holt all tied with 8. And then Teixeira, Cano, and White with 7. Those are the Honda League leaders, RBIs in the American League. Tigers trying to cut off the run. They bring the infield in with Castro at the plate. Castro finally slowed down yesterday, moved to 4th in the or 3rd in the batting order. He was 0 for 4. And he jumped up from 8th to 3rd because of all the people that were rested by Girardi. Today back down in the lineup, but to 7th with Headley out. One 0. 2-0.
Really looked like the Yankees lineup was completely shut down yesterday by Jordan Zimmerman. And I don't really think we saw a dominating performance by Zimmerman in terms of strikeouts and a lot of swings and misses, but very aggressive, typical Zimmerman style, throwing a lot of strikes, pitched up in the zone, a lot of pop-ups, and a really good curveball.
Nice block there by McCann, saving a run.
Another splitter that's down. Pelfrey just kind of yanks it across his body, holds onto it a little too long, and McCann was ready for it.
So McCann stops McCann from scoring. There's no relation. But they do wear the same number. .3-0. Green lighter, man. He was going for the seats and left to count 3-1.
Well, that's the way you're supposed to swing the bat on 3-0. Probably ball 4 though, as Pelfrey threw a sinker on the inner half that darted down and out of the zone.
Broken back, ground ball back to Pelfrey, checks the runner and gets Castro for the second out.
Big pitch for Pelfrey there, and the worst situation, as you see, on a check swing, sawed in half. Running two-seamer, once again, probably ball 4.
Here's Didi Gregorius. Now the infield backs up with 2 outs. Sun also trying to peek through. Lights are on here at Comerica Park. .0-1. Line in the left field, coming on Upton. He's going to play it on a hop. It's a base hit for Gregorius, and scoring is McCann to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead.
What a nice feeling. Gregorius going out off the plate. A little bit off the end of the bat, but staying through that pitch just enough to get it over the infield and in front of the outfielder, and a 2-out RBI. Picking up Castro. Pelfrey a little upset. Those 2-out RBIs are crushers. Really a pickup on the Yankee side, and Pelfrey thinking, man, I made a good pitch. Sabathia, the benefactor, on the bench, a little more of a cushion.
David, we saw that Pelfrey was angry. Was he angry at himself or angry that Upton kind of really went after it very conservatively in left field?
Maybe a little bit of both. We talk a lot about the style of contact. That was more of the soft variety of contact. And as a pitcher, you feel like that's half the battle, you know, is to promote soft contact. And I think the problem was Upton didn't get a good jump on that, or maybe playing a little too deep on a cold day.
Torres, his first at bat as a Yankee, picked up a triple. Getting the start today at third and batting ninth.
It's off the end of the bat. Pretty good running sinker, maybe up just a bit. Good job by Didi, and you know, Upton just kind of checked up early on that, but as I said, you know, the ball came off the end of the bat and wasn't going to carry very far out there.
Torres chops one to short. Iglesias across the diamond, and that will do it. But the Yankees get a run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the second, 2-0 Yanks. Conversation brought to you by Toyota. RAV4 Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. Well, what do you think Dave Roberts pulling Ross Stripling from a no-hit bid in his Major League debut? Well, Luke Becker didn't like it. An MLB debut is the biggest thrill for any player. He could have made history. He should have stayed in. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees RAV4 Hybrid. Keep the conversation going. I couldn't ask this question to a better analyst than my friend David Cohn, who lived it when you came back from the aneurysm and you had a no-hitter in Oakland and Joe Torre took you out.
He did, and it was a little bit different back then. I'd only made 2 rehab starts going into that game, and I was on a strict pitch count coming off of surgery. Stribling similar. You know, he's a Tommy John guy. And the way they're conditioned in the minor leagues now, they're not allowed to throw many more pitches. Certainly 100 is the most he's ever thrown in any game in professional baseball. So that makes the decision a little bit easier. Plus he had 4 walks. He had just walked a guy. It was raining. Even he himself admitted that he was getting tired.
Ground ball to Torreyes. 1 away. Let's take a look at that day in Oakland when you came back off a long stint on the DL and you were just dealing. Now, also, David, people might not know the timeline. This is pre-perfect game, so you had never pitched a no-hitter.
Yeah, that's true. And Bernie Williams makes a great play to save it right there in the 7th inning.
Did you at all politic to Joe Torre?
I was just stunned. You know, the whole day was surreal for me coming back from that injury. I thought my career was potentially over.
J.D. Martinez, shallow fly ball to center. Ellsbury took a step back, now comes in for the 2nd out.
Yeah, to come back that day and pitch that well, Michael, I was just, it was like I was in a dream. Everything was surreal for me that day. And I understood after the game, you know, even though when Joe Torre told me the news on the bench, I couldn't believe it. You can't take me out of this game. But it was Joe Torre, and he took the decision out of my hands and walked away from me. He didn't let me politic. He wouldn't even listen to me. He said, I wouldn't. Torre told me he would never forgive himself if something happened to me or if I got hurt trying to complete a no-hitter.
And we've seen examples of it. Remember how emotional the Mets manager Terry Collins got with the decision on Santana, where he kept him out there. High pitch count, obviously shoulder issues, and Santana really was never the same after that. But that was a big decision for a franchise who had never had a no-hitter.
Yeah, we all wanted to be, all the former Mets pitchers, we all talked about it. We all wanted to be the first guy to throw the first Met no-hitter. Dwight Gooden, Sid Fernandez, Ron Darling.
Tom Seaver.
Talk back to Tom Seaver days. Nolan Ryan was there briefly. But certainly with a young pitcher in Stribling's case, who was never really pitched above Double-A. The way these minor league pitchers are conditioned nowadays, they're very protected. And pitching is such a commodity that organizations have collectively made the decision that they're going to protect these guys. They're going to err on the side of caution.
Soft ground ball to second. And CeCe works another 1-2-3 inning as the Tigers go down in order 1-2-3. We're going to the third in Detroit with the Yankees up 2-0. Baseball Live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment and any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Well, Sabathia's looked good over the first two, and the Yankees lead 2-0, building a little picket fence as Jacoby Ellsbury will lead off the third inning against Mike Pelfrey. Ellsbury struck out in the first. Pelfrey deals. Up and away, 1-0. Still some snow flurries coming down here in Detroit. Certainly much different than early this morning when you really wondered if this game would be played. Grounded right side. Kinsler with a nice play to the glove side. Over to Cabrera, one away.
Well, Ian Kinsler, to me, Michael, quietly having a great career, coming off a very solid year. Obviously, all those years in Texas as a Ranger, came over here in part of that Prince Fielder trade, and he has played well as a Tiger. I think at the top of the order, one of the very best in the game at what he does. All-around player, defense, offense, and base running.
Here's Gardner. He singled and was caught stealing in the first inning. And a strike.
So I know we've seen a lot of Ian Kinsler in the American League, obviously. And to me, just solid. Year in and year out, consistent, durable. Brett Gardner with that single off of Pelfrey in his first at-bat. Done a good job of getting on base this year. Got 5 walks already on the young season. It's kind of opposite. You would Gardner more the prototypical leadoff hitter, sees more pitches, works more walks. Ellsbury, the guy who is leading off, much more aggressive early in the count, looking to swing the bat. Gardner looking to work the count. The one thing Gardner does very well and has such improvement on is picking a pitch on the inner half and looking for it, especially at Yankee Stadium, and increasing his power numbers. Progressively hitting more homers over the last 3 or 4 years.
Gardner down looking.
No argument from Gardner. Very good pitch from Pelfrey. See the ball swing back. Clearly gets a lot of plate. A lot of movement on that two-seam fastball. That's the pitch right there that Greg Maddux rode to the Hall of Fame. He was the master of that particular pitch against left-handed batters.
Here's A-Rod, a long home run in the first inning, his first of the year. And pitch outside 1-0. Well, it's 420 to dead center, and he hit the ball to left center. No cheapy home run out there into the bullpen. So he's had a hit his last 3 times up. Final 2 at-bats at the stadium against the Astros, and then he had yesterday off, and now the home run today.
Home run on a pitch right down the middle from Pelfrey. Just above the knees, more thigh high. I think, as we've seen with Upton on the other side, those fastballs up above the belt that test a bat speed.
Fly ball, right field, J.D. Martinez. So a bounce back inning for Pelfrey as he retires the Yankees in order 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the third. On Yes is brought to you in part by the Honda Dream Garage sales event now at your Honda dealer. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Tri-State BMW centers. Opening day week here in Major League Baseball. Tradition-filled Detroit, big baseball town. Hank Greenberg, who's number 5, is retired here in Detroit. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and it's 2-0 Yankees, and it'll be the bottom third of the Tiger order against Sabathia. Iglesias leads off. CC had 5 spring training games, had a 5.51 ERA. He was in a battle with Ivan Nova for the 5th and final spot in the rotation, and Nova pitched very well in his final start with 6 shutout innings against the Braves at Disneyland, Disney World. But we've talked about this, David. I think the resume and the respect that he has in that clubhouse took a close race and gave it to CeCe.
You have to figure that Sabathia has a little bit of equity built up. And to me, it's the right choice. I mean, if it doesn't work, you've got Ivan Nova ready to go, and you're going to need Ivan Nova. You can't really expect any major league team, the Yankees included, to just use 5 starters throughout the whole year. It just doesn't work that way anymore. More like 10, 9, 10, or 11 starters will be used.
The 1-2. Fly ball center field. Ellsbury there. Puts it away for the first out. Hey, it's time for today's Cold Hard Facts. They're brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Active leaders in wins. The Mets' Bartolo Colon with 218. Right behind him is Sabathia at 214. Then Lackey, Verlander, and Peavy. You know, Joe Girardi said that CeCe's been looking forward to this start since last year when he really admitted himself into rehab for a drinking problem right before the Yankees took on the Astros in the wild card game. And you know, he said, paraphrasing him, I gave so much time to baseball and I decided it was time to tend to myself, and he got some help, which is a good thing, and says he's in a pretty good place right now.
I think a lot of people were just floored by that admission from Sabathia and the timing of it. I, for one, was just shocked. Never saw any signs from Sabathia. Always a stand-up guy, always a leader in the clubhouse. So to see him make that admission and then immediately go to rehab was a real eye-opener for a lot of people.
The 0-2. 1-2.
And very courageous.
He commands a great deal of respect in that room, and that's important. You see, in spring training, he gets the honor of the corner locker on the left side when you walk in with all the pitchers, and they're always crowded around him. And you know, he's giving advice, and they come to him, talk to him. That's something that you just don't dismiss. And I think it's easier to be a leader when you get to do your job. If all of a sudden he's quote-unquote demoted to the bullpen, it might take some of the gravitas away. Ground ball to third. Torreyes gets Aviles. 2 away. Nice stretch by Mark Teixeira.
Yeah, that's why this game meant so much to him, Michael, as you said. And the Yankees spotted him a couple of early runs to work with, and so far so good. The thing that Sabathia has to do and that he's talked about is reinventing yourself. Sabathia was always a power guy, always a real strike thrower. Never liked to walk guys. Get more of the plate with your fastball. You'd rather give up a home run than a walk. Well, that's got to reverse. You got to stop giving up home runs, and even if you walk a couple guys, that's okay, but you really do have to be a little more fine with your pitches. You have to hit the corners. You really have to mix it up. And you can't give in like you once could have. 2-0 counts, 3-1 counts, fastball counts. He used to just rear back and challenge hitters, and those days are over.
The 0-1 goes down on the count. 0-2.
So far so good. Sabathia really has not thrown one pitch in the heart of the plate that I've seen so far. Everything's been on the edges. Everything's been thrown with a purpose.
One and two. Swing and a miss. Sabathia perfect through 3. 9 up, 9 down. Looking sharp and throwing just 31 pitches over 3. 2-0 Yanks. T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.tv Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now. Catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Mark Teixeira leads off here in the fourth. Yankees lead 2-0. And the first pitch outside, 1-0. And the pitch. 1-1.
It's been a lot of talk, Michael, but listening to your radio show and really the offseason chatter and Brian Cashman and the direction of the Yankees organization, and when all these big contracts come due and not trading the youth, and certainly Brian Cashman's done a great job of executing that plan. But meanwhile, Mark Teixeira can still play, even though this is the last year of his contract. He's talked about wanting to play 5 more years and loving playing in New York, and now all of a sudden you're going to, hey, wait a minute, maybe he's an extension candidate if this keeps up, as opposed to clearing the contract off the books.
Fly ball, deep left. Upton's there, makes the play in front of the track for the first out of the inning. Umpires getting some help with their gloves. That sort of day. I guess they're not picking up any small instruments, so looks like they're more on the mitten side. But the home plate umpire, Paul Emmel, going without gloves.
He's got to reach in his pocket and get the baseballs out. Those are some thick mittens they're wearing. You got to be barehanded. You got to be able to use a pen too to write down changes, lineup changes. The umpire has to keep a book of his own.
So McCann with a single and a run scored. I told you earlier, great numbers against Pelfrey, 20 for 43 now. Emmel's in good voice.
Once again, every umpire's got his own call. The days of Dutch Rennert are kind of over. You know, the real demonstrative calls of the past. Ron Luciano. None of them are strike, though. They're more of a grunt.
McCann with a walk. Continues his success against Pelfrey. That brings up Beltran. Interesting fact about this ballpark, David. It's very difficult on a sunny afternoon, at least from the press box, to see where the ball is because there's almost a sheen off of the grass. And I was asking Dan Dickerson, longtime radio broadcaster for the Tigers, why that was, and he said this field is laid out complete opposite way of at least 26 of the 30 teams in baseball. You know, like if this was Yankee Stadium, home plate would be in center field looking this way. And there's Dan. And what they did when they built this ballpark, they wanted downtown Detroit in the outfield. They wanted that to be kind of the background, so they built it completely different geographically than most stadiums. I think 26 out of the 30 stadiums face the same way as Yankee Stadium. And this one, and I believe Chicago's U.S. Cellular also faces the opposite direction. I know it makes it difficult for us to see it. You wonder, is it a different look for the ball players with the sun coming from a different angle? The 0-2, 1-2.
it would be nice to test that theory out if the sun would come out, but we haven't seen much of it the 2 days that we've been here. Although threatening right now, there's a little patch of blue sky up there.
This ballpark was kind of the beginning of a renaissance of downtown Detroit. Mike Gillick's the owner of the Tigers, could have built it somewhere in the suburbs and really wanted to revitalize a city that had fallen on hard times. And now you've got this, and they refurbished the Fox Theater, and they're building a new home for the Red Wings down the block. Ground ball, base hit, taking advantage of the shift as Beltran picks up a single. I always get the sense of all the hitters on the Yankees, David, Beltran takes advantage of shifts more than anybody.
Yeah, we've seen Brian McCann try to do it at times, although this year really pulling the ball with authority. But you just wonder if we're going to see more and more of that. I know you've talked about it. We get asked that question more by fans than why can't they just hit a ground ball the other way and beat that shift? And right on cue, Beltran does it, clearly looking to hit the ball the other way.
So here's Sterling Castro. He of the 8 RBIs so far in this young season. Yankees threatening here in the 4th. They're up 2-0. Runners on first and second with 1 out.
One of the things I don't really like, Michael, is you notice the dirt patch between the mound and home plate running straight down, old school style. To me, that makes no sense at all. The grass is to slow down the baseball. There's a reason why the infields aren't all dirt, because it'd be dangerous. It plays too fast. And the fact that this stretch is right there and you're only 60 feet away makes no sense. So line drives or one hoppers off of that dirt straight at the pitcher are going to come out faster. There's no grass to slow it down. That's the purpose of the grass. So it may be an old school look, but I hate it. I would not want it if I was pitching.
Blocked by McCann.
I want all the protection I could get. I want the grass thicker on the infield.
And I'm sure you remember, David, in the old Tiger Stadium, they had a thick infield grass because they had an aging double play combination in Whitaker and Trammell. And, Sparky Anderson would tell them to really grow the grass. And John Sterling used to joke that you could, lose a small child in the infield grass. It was so high.
Very bushy.
One. Line into right field. That ball is caught by J.D. Martin. No, he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. He had it for a moment and dropped the ball, and everybody moves up a base, and Castro reaches, and the bases are loaded.
A bit of a circuitous route, too, before he got there, and then got glove on it. Good job by Beltran of reading this, going halfway, not getting beat. Because after he dropped it, he picked it up and fired it to second pretty quickly. And had Beltran not been ready, could have got doubled off there, could have got forced out at second, rather.
Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, comes out and talks with Pelfrey. Gives me time to tell you this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Well, they're going to give Castro a hit on this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough play, but you see, that's how you do it base running wise. Beltran right there, halfway. Make sure. Don't take anything for granted. So, very good job by Beltran there.
All right, big spot here for D.D. Gregorius, who picked up an RBI single to left in the second. Bases loaded, 1 out. Tigers at double play depth, but they are in at the corners. Buck Farmer is up in the bullpen for the Tigers. .69 pitches for Pelfrey. We're in the 4th. 2-0.
Didi Gregorius, very athletic. Watch out. Right down to the split, almost a full split.
Fly ball left field. That should get a run, and tagging is McCann. The catch is made by Upton. The throw comes in the third. Scoring is McCann. Sac fly for Didi, and it's 3-0 Yankees. Two ribbies for Gregorius now.
Bases loaded, 2-0 count. You know you're going to get a fastball. Didi able to lift it and get it out to the outfield for a sac fly.
So here's Ronald Torreyes. Beltran's at second, Castro is at first. Grounded. Grabbed by Iglesias, he saves a run, but a base hit for Torreyes to reload the bases. Iglesias has a lot of range to grab that one in the hole.
Yes, 3 hops. That shows you the range, as Michael said, nowhere to go. And Torreyes aggressive early in the count, finds the hole. And an infield single to load him back up.
I have a spot here for Ellsbury to give the Yankees a lot more breathing room. 2 outs, bases loaded, 1 run in. It's 3-0 Yankees, top of the 4th. One and 0 on Ellsbury. Jacoby's 0 for 2 today. A strikeout and a ground ball to second.
Got to figure a big hit here by Ellsbury would knock Pelfrey right out of the game and get into that Tiger bullpen.
That one is driven deep to right center field. That ball is going to be 1 hop up against the wall. 1 run scores. 2 run score. Here comes Torreyes. He'll score. It's a 3-run triple for Ellsbury, and the Yankees lead 6-0. And that is going to be it for Mike Pelfrey.
Right on cue. Sinker up and out over the plate. Does not sink. Ellsbury crushes it in the gap.
So a big 3-run triple for Ellsbury. 6-0 Yankees. And it's a Fios call to the bullpen by Brad Ausmus. Soccer on Yes as the Stars of New York City FC take on the Columbus Crew in a prime-time match. All the action kicks off next Saturday at 7:30, presented by Etihad Airways, right here on Yes. The Yankee bench a little more animated than yesterday when they couldn't get anything going offensively. Now 6 runs, 2 outs into the 4th, and into the Tiger bullpen, and Buck Farmer on in relief of Mike Pelfrey. 7.36 ERA last year. Pelfrey 3 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs, runner at third, his responsibility.
Yeah, back-to-back debuts for new members of the Tiger rotation. Yesterday's couldn't have gone better. This one couldn't have gone worse. So Zimmerman, yes. Pelfrey, no.
Here's Gardner, and he gets plunked. And it also got James McCann. Gardner gets hit a lot.
2 for 1.
He has that guard on it, might have gotten the guard.
Yeah, elbow to McCann's inner knee. If you're really good, Michael, and I've done this on occasion, you can get all 3 guys with a good hit by pitch. Ooh, you get the umpire too sometimes. Hard to do, but sometimes you can pull that off. Good to see the McCann's all right.
All right, so now the Yankees send their 9th batter to the plate in A-Rod. He's 1 for 2, had a home run in the 1st inning. Deep drive to left center. Solo shot. Yankees lead 6-0. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. McCann looking into the dugout and giving some signs what they'll do if Gardner goes. Who's covering? Would they throw through? Would the Yankees try to double steal? Have Ellsbury break on a throw to second, so all that being covered. Nice backhanded pick by McCann.
A lot of times this would happen with 2 strikes. If Alex were to fall behind with 2 strikes down in the count, that's when Billy Martin would do it back in the day. Try to steal a run.
Well, the Yankees have scored 6 runs. Go to papajohns.com tomorrow to receive 50% off the regular menu price of all pizzas online with promo code Yankee6. So this is game 5, and this is the 3rd time the Yankees have scored 6 or more runs.
Billy Martin was the king of trying to steal runs. Billy Ball. The right situation, he'd have the first base runner run out there and fall down in the middle of the base path. Try to get in a rundown to give the base runner third time to steal home. Actually saw the Yankees practice that one spring training. You know, base running plays, and first base runner go out there and actually fall down in the middle of the base path. Force a rundown, put the pressure on the defense.
1-2.
This would be the time to do it. 1-2 count, 2 outs. You either steal the run or Alex Rodriguez will start the next inning with a fresh count.
Strike 3, A-Rod down looking. But the Yankees score 4 runs on 4 hits. The big blow, a bases loaded triple by Jacoby Ellsbury. He clears the bases, and the Yankees have a 6-0 lead. Yes Network. Comcast customers will miss the entire Yankees season on Yes. There are other TV providers that carry Yes, including DirecTV, Frontier, PlayStation Vue, and Verizon Fios. Don't miss any Yankees games on Yes. For more information, go to keepyesnetwork.com. All right, CC Sabathia with a 6-0 lead. We go to the fourth, top of the order. Ian Kinsler takes low and inside 1-0. So the Yankee offense dormant yesterday, revitalized today. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 4 in the fourth. Count 2-0. (3-0) on CC. Had an extended seat on the bench during the Yankees' 4-run inning. And there's the first base runner for the Tigers. A leadoff walk to Kinsler.
Obviously, the last thing you want to do as a starting pitcher, but understandable in this weather, and as Michael said, a long layoff, which is fine when your team is scoring runs. You'll take it. Sabathia got to get right back in gear here. Been spotted 6 runs.
Well, we saw it adversely affected Pineda the other day when the Yankees had a big offensive inning. Came back out of the mound, didn't have much. There's a strike to Upton.
Sabathia has really kind of gone from fighting for that 5th spot to today, after the first round of the rotation, being the guy they need to go the most innings. Girardi talked about the length he needed from Sabathia today.
Meredith talked about this on the pregame show. He's not sure what he would do if he had to go for a lot of innings. There's no Cessa today. There's no Nova. Did he go? Yes, he did. And the count 1-2. Kind of a weak wave. Pitch count's in good shape. Just 41 pitches, 25 strikes. Kinsler leads off first. Upton with a fly ball to right center. Right there is Beltran. He'll put it away for the first out. And that brings up Miguel Cabrera. 2 home runs, 12 ribbies, 2 doubles, and a .313 career average against Sabathia. Off to a good start this season with a home run and 3 runs batted in while hitting .357. Fouls it away.
It's got to be the ultimate test for a left-handed pitcher. Anybody, rookie, veteran, Sabathia. This guy, the ultimate right-handed hitter who feasts off of left-handed pitching. Sabathia made 29 starts last year. Just 11 of them qualified as quality starts. At least 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs or less.
Making those numbers that David gave you even more remarkable, and the Yankees' appearance in the playoffs more remarkable, Sabathia led the Yankees in innings last year. And they still made the playoffs, so they certainly squeezed every last bit of juice out of the orange. Grounded foul.
It's a real testament to their bullpen, which was up and down across the board, outstanding last year. And of course, the Yankees were second in the American League in runs scored as well. Kind of an all or nothing offense, though.
Three and two to Cabrera.
You can see Sabathia really trying to work that new cut fastball in on Cabrera there, pushing him off. Let's see if he goes to the 3-2 changeup off of that pitch here. Even with a 6-run lead, you don't want to just give in and give Cabrera one chance to get 2 runs on the board.
And he walked him. So 2 walks issued by Sabathia. First and second, 1 man out.
Even with a 6-run lead, pitching very carefully to one of the good right-handed hitters. Sinker away, fouled off, down and away with a changeup, down in the dirt again. There's the cutter, pretty good one. Beat him there, another cutter in, pushed him off, and then another changeup down. Cabrera doesn't bite, but actually a couple of cutters in that sequence that really tied Cabrera up, so that kind of shows you the new feature that Sabathia is trying to do. It's not really a slider, it's more of a cut fastball in the mid-80s. And he's starting to throw it a lot more.
Here's Victor Martinez, grounded to third in the second. First and second, 1 man out in the fourth. There's a strike. Yankees back on the left side, halfway on the right side. And the outfield there straight away. Victor, a switch hitter, batting from the right side against the lefty Sabathia. And they know each other very well. Victor actually was CC's catcher in Cleveland. But Victor's catching days are over, knee problems, and pretty much exclusively a DH.
And as DHs go, having a switch hitter is the ultimate.
37 years old in 2014. Tigers signed him to a 4-year, $68 million deal. One, 2-1. Kinsler is at second. Cabrera at first. First time that the Tigers have had base runners in this game. CC was perfect, 9 up, 9 down over the first 3. Two-1. That one gets past McCann and goes to the backstop. Runners move up. That'll be a wild pitch.
Yes, just holds on to that changeup a little too long. Looked like McCann got stuck back there a bit, anticipating it going down and away, and it was down and in, so unable to get over and get in front of that one.
Yankees play the infield back with a 6-run lead. They'll give up that run. They'll trade the run for an out on the ground. Three-one. 3 walks this inning by CC. And the bases are loaded. And that brings out Larry Rothschild. I mean, pitchers do get out of sync, but do you think this is a direct correlation to the long half inning on the bench?
I'm sure that's one part of it. Absolutely. I think also that Yankee fans know, and we all know from watching CC last year and over the last couple of years, it's really been the home run ball that has hurt him. He gave up 28 last year, just 167 in the 3rd inning. So you can see him pitching very carefully, trying to avoid that situation with a couple of home run hitters up right there.
Here's J.D. Martinez, bases loaded, 1 out. CC and the Yankees looking for a double play. Pitches up and away. 1-0. Two and 0. So he's lost the plate. And as David said, combine that with the fact he's being very careful to keep the ball into the park. You don't want to give in on 2-0. Fouled away.
At some point you have to give in. Bases loaded, 2-0, and he did right there. And a good swing from J.D. Martinez fouls it off. Sabathia is such a dominant pitcher for the majority of his career. Really, the first blip on the screen came in 2013. His ERA jumped up to a little under 5, and he gave up 28 homers that year.
2-2. Big cut by Martinez.
McCann coming in. It's so important. Sabathia misses the target up and away. Above the belt, gets Martinez to chase probably what would have been ball 3.
Big spot here in the game. Yankees up 6-0, bottom of the 4th. 2-2. Strike 3. Martinez down looking. Big strikeout for Sabathia.
How much have we talked about Michael threading the inside corner, catching batters looking out over the plate? Right at the belt, right at the, which is nowadays the top of the strike zone on the inside corner, a really good pitch. But that is the key, make or break time for pitchers. If you can thread the inside corner, thread the needle, especially when you've already featured a bunch of off-speed stuff, you can get called 3rd strikes just like that.
Here's James McCann, bases loaded, now 2 outs. One and 0. CC about to throw his 60th pitch. There's a strike, 1-1. McCann grounded to second in the 2nd. 33 strikes, 27 balls, adding up to 60 pitches for Sabathia.
You know, it may sound a little funny, but when you lose velocity as a pitcher, you actually have to pitch inside more often. As Sabathia is showing here today, coming back in this inning by pitching inside.
Boy, David, we saw a perfect example of that with Messina. And he won 20 games doing it in his last season.
You have to protect your off-speed stuff. You have to protect the outside corner. Sabathia can throw changeups and sliders on the outside corner. You got to be able to keep him honest on the inside corner.
So a 3-0 count on McCann. Check that, 3-1. So the bases loaded, 2 outs, 3 balls, 1 strike on James McCann. CC has walked 3 this inning. And the pitch. Line drive, base hit left field. Kinsler scores. Cabrera scores. Gardner fires it into Gregorius. It's the first hit for the Tigers. It's a 2-run single, and it's now 6-2 Yankees.
Well, no choice. On a 3-1 count and the bases loaded, you got to go right down the middle, and down the middle he goes. And McCann takes advantage. It looked like for a minute there that Gardner had bobbled that ball, but actually something fell out of his pocket.
Here is Jose Iglesias. Victor Martinez at second, James McCann at first, and there's a strike.
James McCann continues to impress. Already defensively, a very exciting young player in the game, and the Tigers think they have probably found their answer at catcher for a long time.
Count 0-2. "31 pitches this inning, so economical over the first 3 where he was perfect." Line drive up the middle off the glove of Castro into center field. And Victor Martinez will stop at third, so the bases are reloaded on the single by Iglesias. Handled cleanly, David. I'm not sure if he gets anybody.
Yeah, the ball's hit hard. It's a tough play for Castro to the backhand side. And a high hop. That ball came up fairly high. The only thing that saved Sabathia and the Yankees here is the fact that Victor Martinez was running and could not score on that.
You know, watching that replay, if he does field it cleanly, they probably get the force at second because it was hit so hard.
Yeah, Gregorius was there and on the move.
So here is Micah Vilas. High fly ball, deep left, going back. Gardner still back, reaching up and making the play for the final out of the 4th. 2 runs for the Tigers, 2 hits, 3 walks. They leave the bases loaded. barn burner of a series. Yesterday's game, Red Sox came back, a lot of slugging, and today a lot of runs as well. Cadillac scoreboard at 6-2 as the Tigers finally got on the board in the 4th inning, but they did leave the bases loaded. And Mark Teixeira leads off against Buck Farmer. Teixeira's 0 for 2 today. There's a strike.
Been a good offensive day so far for the Yankees. Is really Teixeira's the only Yankee not to reach base as of yet. Batting for the 3rd time here in the 5th.
Three and one. Teixeira, McCann, and Beltran in the 5th inning. Yankees 6 runs on 8 hits. The Tigers 2 runs on 2 hits. Knocked down by Farmer. 1 away. Today's injury report brought to you by Montefiore, doing more in state-of-the-art healthcare. And we've lost Kyle Schwarber for the year with a really bad knee injury. Tore his ACL and LCL, out for the season. Last year for the Cubs, 246, 16 homers, 43 runs batted in. He was a joy to watch offensively, a big slugger who kind of was built for Wrigley Field, but you kind of waited for bad things to happen in the outfield. He's not a natural outfielder. Kind of came up as a catcher and ran into Dexter Fowler and tore up his knee. He's out for the year.
Yeah, I mean, the old term, you blow out your knee, that's a blowout. That's a complete blowout. Very devastating knee injury.
Had another game that was impacted yesterday by the new slide rule. And I don't mean the slide rule at Bronx Science, but the slide rule at second base, as McCann picks up a single. He's 2 for 2. And Joe Girardi was talking about it before the game, David, and he said he's already putting a call today to Joe Torre. He needs clarification. He said the way the rule reads and the way it's being called, it just doesn't jive.
Yeah, in that particular case, in the Astros game, it was Colby Rasmus who clearly slid late and right by the bag. Even though there was no contact at second base, which I think made things look worse, ending a game like that in that Astros game. But by the new rules, that wasn't even close. I mean, the umpire made the right call by the new rules. And these are rules that the Players Association, along with the ownership and management side, agreed to.
Beltran wraps it foul. Well, Joe said that this rule is going to be more difficult to adapt to than the catching rule. He said, I thought the catching rule was going to be difficult, but as the season went along and there was more clarification to the rule, everybody said, okay, we get it. He said this one, he just doesn't get it. That ball gets away from McCann. He couldn't find it, allowing Brian McCann to go to second. He didn't think that there was any intent for the Astro game yesterday with Rasmus. He actually disputed that. He said, I just don't, I'm telling our players just to slide to the bag. He said, because anything else, it seems like they're going to call something. He said the umpires are put in a bad situation too because they're looking at things in slow motion. He said, and the game is acted in real life. He says it's tougher when it's that speed.
Well, they're trying to stop the late slide. They certainly no roadblocks. They want you to hit the dirt well before the bag and slide into the bag.
High drive, right field. There it goes. See ya. A 2-run home run for Carlos Beltran. And the Yankees lead 8-2.
That was a bomb I mean, Carlos Beltran, you want to know about bat speed and all the talk about the age on the Yankee roster. Plenty of bat speed on this one. Batting left-handed, up and out over the plate, and mashed a long way, deep into the right field seats. That's the way you attack a high fastball. As Beltran has done that his whole career. Second home run on the year.
Count 1-1 on Castro. Starlin is 1 for 2. It's actually gotten warmer as the game has gone on. It's now 32 degrees. But Starlin certainly bundled up.
Not listening to balls and strikes. That's it.
See Paul Emmel talking back to the Tiger dugout. Now he throws someone out. A quick hook there by home plate umpire Paul Emmel. And you can see Brad Ausmus is pretty animated and upset at the home plate umpire. I would assume that it was the manager who got thrown out.
Ausmus clearly upset with the last inning when Sabathia got a couple of called third strikes. One in particular that he thought was high. Asking Emmel to call it both ways, and Emmel, with rabbit ears, throws him out quickly. That's exactly what that was. That was a pitch that Ausmus thought was called a strike in the last inning, and you can
the one
see
against
Emmel.
J.D. Martinez,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Oh, you're done.
You could hear him. Boom, you're done. I don't want to hear it. Technically, you're not allowed to argue balls and strikes, and Paul Emmel's exactly correct on that, but usually they'll allow you a little slack on the leash, and that was very quick.
And after getting tossed, David, I believe that Ausmus, a graduate of Dartmouth, was not using Dartmouth words. Government major. I don't think he was using words that he learned in government class either. So Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, comes out and talks to Buck Farmer. Gene Lamont will act as the manager. He's the bench coach for Brad Ausmus and was the bench coach for Jim Leland as well.
He was, and actually took over the Pirate job when Leland left the Pirates. So he did have his shot at managing, and then also the White Sox. Gene Lamont, lifetime baseball guy, actually was drafted ahead of Johnny Bench as a catcher. Gene Lamont was a catcher.
Gregorius lofts one to left center as Ghost moves over to make the play for the second out. Here's Ronald Torreyes. And there's a strike.
That was in 1965, Michael. Gene Lamont was the first pick by the Tigers, 13th in the nation. Same year Johnny Bench was drafted. Behind him, Gene Lamont also is a longtime minor league Royals manager. I had him in the minor leagues in Double-A. A lot of people, and Jim Leland included, really feels like he should have got another job managing, that he's one of the most qualified baseball people out there today in today's game that should be a manager.
How did he deal with young David Cone?
They traded me. And he was right. Get this flake out of here. Send him to New York.
The 0-2. Not sure the Royals got the equal return in that. Ed Hearn.
The minute I got to New York, Michael, I never left.
There's a base hit for Torres. Live bat on the Yankees backup infielder. He has 3 hits so far this year, the triple and 2 singles today.
Good quick stroke. Torres looks very athletic, runs well, he's acquitted himself well in the field. It's a nice little pickup. Guy kind of hanging out there on waivers. You know, we talked about his offseason, back and forth, and where's he going to end up? And
here's Ellsbury, had that big 3-run triple in the Yankees' 4th inning. Now with this Tiger offense, you can't say the game was blown open, but certainly gave the Yankees breathing room. Gave Sabathia breathing room.
It's nice to come right back and answer the Tigers, who scored 2 in the bottom of the 4th. And actually, I kind of felt Sabathia was a little fortunate there as Aviles hit that ball well in the gap. Gardner ran it down.
One 1-2 on Ellsbury. Jacoby 1 for 3. Struck out, grounded to second, and then the triple to right center to clear the bases. 4 RBIs in the early going. One, 2. Strike 3. Ellsbury down looking. He did not like the call. But the Yankees get 2 runs on 3 hits. The big hit, a long 2-run home run for Carlos Beltran. We are halfway through 8-2. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by People's United Bank N.A., putting the power of know-how to work for you. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2016 models. Cadillac scoreboard, bottom of the 5th inning. It's 8-2 Yankees, and Sabathia deals low to Ghost 1-0. It'll be 9-1-2 in the Tigers' order against Yankees veteran left-hander. 8-11-0 for the Yanks, 2-2-0 for the Tigers. Tigers didn't have a base runner until the 4th inning when they pushed across 2 but left the bases loaded. Two and 0. Three and 0. And the pitch. A strike.
The way the last inning started for Sabathia was a 4-pitch walk, so avoids it here by pumping one in there on 3-0.
And there's ball 4.
Didn't have to be. You could see a little hesitation from McCann and Sabathia on that one. A couple of pitches in that sequence. It could have gone either way, but when the opposing manager gets thrown out of the game arguing balls and strikes, maybe it does have an impact. Kind of like NBA coaches work the referees throughout the game. So do baseball managers, even when they get thrown out.
Off the glove of Torreyes, trickles behind him, and everybody is safe. A hot shot off the bat of Kinsler, and Torreyes could not hold on.
Kinsler again with a bullet, and Torreyes, it looked like he got ahead of himself. He was bringing the glove back down to turn it, like he thought he had secured it when he had not. Either way, smash line drive off of Kinsler's bat results in a hit, I would imagine.
They do give him a hit, David, so 1st and 2nd. And now the dangerous part of the Tiger order with Upton, Cabrera, the 2 Martinezes. So CC has to navigate that. He's at 73 pitches. Now, CC wants you to expand your strike zone if you're a hitter. He does not want to throw pitches over the 17 inches of the plate. So the Tigers seem to have adjusted as the game has gone on, where they're making him throw strikes. And if it's going to be off the plate, they'll take it. Maybe it's an adjustment that the hitting coach, Wally Joyner, has made between innings. And Kirby Yates is up for the Yankees in their bullpen.
Yeah, that's a great point, Michael, and you're exactly right. I mean, the counts have reversed for Sabathia. A lot of 1-0, 2-0, and 3-1 counts over the last 2 innings. In the first 3, he was jumped up on everybody. 3 perfect innings to start this game. Things have suddenly reversed.
Right back to CC. There's one. And the stretch by Teixeira to complete the double play. 1, 4, 3, and moving to 3rd is Ghost. They might challenge that, see if the foot came off.
Well, just what the doctor ordered for Sabathia, and how many times have we seen Mark Teixeira do this and just save play after play? Doesn't show up in the box score.
And that's going to bring up Miguel Cabrera. 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Grounded foul.
No challenge, but this is just well done. Yes, he's on. Yes, he is clearly on the bag. That's the last thing you expect with all that time. Ground ball back to the pitcher, plenty of time to turn it. You can see Teixeira, you expect something right to you with plenty of time, and Just great reactions from Teixeira once again.
Chop to short. Didi. Right to Teixeira. And Sabathia has worked 5 innings. And he has himself an 8-2 lead as we go to the 6th. Well, those were the thrilling moments of the game brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi is giving you a chance to earn your pinstripes. Visit Yankees.com/Pepsi Pinstripes for more details. We go to the 6th inning. Brett Gardner leads off and takes the ball 1-0. It'll be Gardner, A-Rod, and Teixeira. Yankees lead 8-2. One and one. Gardner singled, was caught stealing. Struck out looking, then was hit by a pitch. Like it was close to the right elbow. Buck Farmer on a relief of starter Mike Pelfrey, his first start for the Tigers after signing a 2-year, $16 million free agent deal, leaving the Twins, and did not pitch well today. Grounded up the middle and through for a base hit for Gardner. Yankees start the 6th inning with a single.
Gardner reaching, covering that pitch. I was going to say, I thought maybe that little dirt strip helped him a little bit, but I think he was just to the left of it. I hate that thing, Michael. I'm telling you, there's no purpose for that. That's
totally
all,
aesthetic.
Just eyewash.
Yep. Didn't Buck Showalter kind of reintroduce it back into the game when Chase Field was built, and it was his idea?
Yeah, it was a bad idea. Buck's not a pitcher. No, I guess the theory behind it was, and I remember Buck talking about it, was that it would give the pitcher some sort of frame of reference to square him up and line him up. But that's not what I'm looking at when I pitched. I'm looking at the glove and the plate. I'm not looking at the ground. I guess theoretically, maybe some pitchers might like it, you know, get a sense of squareness, alignment to home plate. But I'm more worried about the smash one hopper off of my kneecap coming off of that dirt.
So let me ask you, let's say you're 28-year-old David Cohn, free agent, Tigers come calling, offer you the most money. Do you say, I'll come, but you've got to cover up that line to...
It's an interesting choice. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be that presumptuous to make that kind of a request. But yes, I would talk about it and say, you know, what is the need for it? And very easy to grow that grass back in.
Runner goes, throw to second, not in time. Stolen base for Gardner as Alex down on strikes.
Get that Irish guy on the commercials from Scott's Turf. You know? feed your lawn. And Gardy's in there with his first stolen base of the year. Scottish, Irish, Scotch-Irish. That's what I am.
Here's Mark Teixeira. 0 for 3 today. And there's a strike. We're in the 6th, 8-2. Yankees over the Tigers, talking some gardening as well. One and one.
So Teixeira has 2 home runs already on the year. That second one at Yankee Stadium, just the 5th one he's ever hit to the opposite field as a member of the Yankees. Right down the left field line, batting left-handed. Rarely do you see Teixeira go that way.
Well, he's a dead pull hitter, as he shows right there. So Mark is 0 for 4 today as Gardner moves to third. And that brings up Brian McCann. Brian is 2 for 2 with a walk and 3 runs scored. Farmer got the final out of the 4th. Gave up 2 runs in the 5th. The 2-run home run by Beltran. Now here in the 6th, a runner at third. 2 outs. Two 2-0 to McCann.
Which one? Which McCann?
At the plate. Which one?
Which one? Who's on first? Cold day. Walk it off. Boy, full swing too. Those are the ones trying to turn on it. Full hack. No check swing there. Straight down.
Shift is on. 3 infielders. on the right side. Gardner leads off third. And the count 2-2. Down goes McCann. You can see he's still feeling it. And Gardner is stranded at third. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankees are up in this one by a score of 8-2.
And today, after the postgame, stay tuned for Center Stage with Michael Kay, presented by your Tri-State Land Rover retailers, and catch a revealing interview with Yankees manager Joe Girardi. Then on Tuesday night at 11 p.m., don't miss the all-new episode featuring WWE superstar John Cena. I'm sorry, John Cena. Should know that, right? Only on Yes.
He was good.
I know, he's famous. I just butchered his name.
After you see Center Stage on Tuesday, you'll know.
He's gonna come get me.
Big guy.
Body slam me.
So Sabathia starts the bottom of the 6th, and a ball to Victor Martinez. Victor is 0 for 1 with a walk.
The last promo I read, that's the first promo I've read since the last one, and they won't let me do it because they had a little thing at the bottom of it was Hyundai, rhymes with Sunday. It wasn't part of the ad, and I just read it.
Yeah, they put it in parentheses to give you a pronunciation guide. So David said Hyundai rhymes with Sunday.
That was the last promo I was allowed to read. Exactly.
Yeah, if they have anything about San Diego, don't read it, okay?
Anchorman.
So, David, what do you think so far about Sabathia?
Well, this is the formula. This is what you're going to see. You know, he's definitely trying to reinvent himself. This is a very definitive, different look. You know, he's not pitching like he was last year. A lot of cut fastballs, a lot of changeups, really going for the corners, not giving in.
Fly ball, center field, drifting back, Ellsbury, and he'll make the play for the first out.
And yes, at times falling behind and walking a few guys, but so far so good, staying away from the home run ball, and I think that's what really burned him last year, the 28 home runs. It always seemed like there was one bad inning and a couple of big home runs that burned Sabathia last year. You can see he's really trying to stay away from that. So from that perspective, I think the Yankees have to be very pleased. His cutter has looked very good at times. He has really bought into this transformation of reinventing himself.
That one's popped up. McCann runs out of room.
I think Sabathia talked about it last year. I'm not gonna, I'm not a power guy anymore. I'm not gonna blow anybody away. But he didn't really change his style. Maybe a few more two-seam fastballs. But this year, definitely trying new grips, change the grip on his changeup, getting a lot more sink on that changeup, and really for the first time in his career, throwing a true cut fastball. So you got to kind of just throw the velocity out the window right now.
High fly ball. Center field, Ellsbury will put it away for the second out. And he's also been seeking the counsel of his close friend Andy Pettitte, because Andy made that transition.
Yeah, that's a great guy to talk to. Andy was the king of the cut fastball. So when you're seeing all these radar gun readings with Sabathia, don't be fooled. This 86, 85, 87, these are all designed to be cut fastballs. The top end on his fastball is probably 88, 89. He might touch 90 occasionally. So that is by design. He's going for more movement. And cut fastballs should be in those mid-80 ranges. His slider's more in the upper 70s, 78 miles an hour. That's his slider there, 77 miles an hour. That's the one you throw for a strike, or you can throw it at left-handed hitters right at them and break it over. But against right-handed batters, which has been the problem for Sabathia, he's come up with that cut fastball. And that's the one you're seeing at 85, 86.
Soft ground ball to second. Castro's there. And CeCe's the first Yankee pitcher in this young season to actually go 6 full innings as he works a 1-2-3-6. We'll go to the 7th. 8-2 Yanks. Tomorrow night starting pitchers brought to you by Fios by Verizon. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Go to getfios.com today. Masahiro Tanaka will get the start for the Yanks, and the veteran Justin Verlander goes for the Tigers. Now, that game's going to be on ESPN, but we do have Yankees extra innings on Yes immediately following the game on ESPN. So Meredith Marakovich will be here. She'll get all the clubhouse information that you need. So stick around after the game on ESPN. GMC scoreboard in the 7th inning. It's 8-2 Yankees over the Tigers. And the new pitcher is Logan Kensing. Beltran grounds it into the teeth of the shift. One away. So that was the third baseman Aviles who made that play. So you score at 5-3.
Scoring will never be the same, right, Michael?
Because when I look at this, like 3 months from now, I'm going to think that was a ground ball to third.
Do you draw the little dotted line for ground balls?
No, I just put just a 5-3. No,
just a 5-3. Yeah, you're going to have to start. Yeah, you're going to have to start drawing where the ball was hit.
Or I'll just put 5-3 in parentheses. I'll put a 4. Or just I won't look back.
There you go. Castro got back on the board today. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. That single to right field. You know, we mentioned it with Castro. You know, it's easy to get giddy over his start here. You look at what a perfect fit potentially playing second base. What a big hole it was last year in terms of production. Although Stephen Drew did hit some homers and played solid defense, but undoubtedly, even by his standards, really struggled getting on base last year. Castro brings a lot of hope, and the fact that he bats right-handed. Much needed right-handed pop. The Yankee lineup was a little too left-handed last year.
Big cut by Castro.
We said it before, Castro kind of the over and under, you know, on his career power numbers. Home runs, his career high is 14. He's already got 2. I'm taking the over on that.
He's got power to right field, so he can take advantage of Yankee Stadium.
And not just homers, doubles as well. Extra base hit potential.
I think he'll enjoy playing 9 games at Fenway and 9 games at Camden Yards. Ball travels pretty well at Rogers Center and Tropicana Field as well. 3-2.
Speaking of dirt on the infields, we're going to see that up in Toronto next week as they now have a full skin across the infield now, as they say. No more partial skin or AstroTurf. No more turf at all on the base pass. As they continue to prep that field to eventually do natural grass up there in Toronto.
Line drive into right center field. That is going to fall for a base hit in front of J.D. Martinez. So second hit of the afternoon for Starlin Castro.
Gregorius right there. That big single came with 2 outs.
And that's a big hit for Starlin Castro. That's his 1,000th career hit. Pretty good for a 26-year-old. And the ball came in, so Stevie Donnie will mark it up.
That's a lot, 1,000 at 26 years old. I got stuck on 66, Michael. 66 big league hits I got.
That's pretty good. And one disfigured pinky.
Yeah, exactly. One devastating hit by pitch. I know what it's like to get drilled.
That was Atlee Hammaker, right?
Yes.
We're in the top of the 7th inning, 8-2, Yankees over the Tigers. Gregorius fouls it off.
And quietly at the bottom of the Yankee order, Gregorius has looked solid from day one.
Chop to Cabrera. He'll get the force at second for the second out. Hey, Tuesday night, do not miss the Yankees' first big division showdown of the season as the Yankees battle Jose Bautista and the reigning American League East champion Toronto Blue Jays. Our coverage begins at 6:30 with the Chevy pregame right here on Yes and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And remember, catch Yankees Extra Innings postgame coverage on Yes tomorrow night immediately following the nationally televised game on Yes. That's the infield at Rogers Center last year, and that's today as they play the Red Sox. So that's what the Yankees will see on Tuesday.
And I would imagine that will play pretty fast. Be interesting to see how it does play.
There's a base hit up the middle for Ronald Torreyes, his third hit of the game as it moves Gregorius to second. So 3 singles for Torreyes. He had the triple at Yankee Stadium, so he's coming out of the gate hot.
Very aggressive. Up in the zone, go get it. Torreyes looking very hitterish in that Yankee uniform.
$14 hits for the Yankees that they were completely shut down yesterday. So first and second, 2 men out. Back to the top of the lineup, and Ellsbury, who had a bases clearing triple in the 4th inning. Swings at that pitch and skies it out to left center. Right there is Ghost, and that will do it. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. It's time for the 7th inning stretch in Detroit. Change behind CC as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Aaron Hicks takes over in right field for Carlos Beltran. Boy, this is what a lift for the Yankees to have CC pitch into the 7th when their bullpen through 4 games has really been used a lot. No Yankee pitcher has been able to get through a full 6. CC has done that. He's at 87 pitches, so if he has a decent 7th inning, he gives them 7. You take that from any starter, let alone your 5th starter. Pitch outside to Iglesias.
Pretty much cruise city for Sabathia. Just the one trouble spot in the bottom of the 4th when he loaded the bases with walks.
Popped up on the left side. Out of play.
Three perfect innings to start this game, and then the 2-run bottom of the 4th. Sabathia with a big double play ball to get out of the 5th. Right back to him, the comebacker, and then the 6th inning was very breezy. 1, 2, 3.
1-1. Up the middle, a base hit for Iglesias, his 2nd hit of the afternoon. He's 2 for 3. And they were going to go batter by batter with CC, so Joe Girardi not going to push the envelope. CC kind of looks as Joe comes out of the dugout. So they are going to go to the bullpen. And Sabathia gives the Yankees 6+, 90 pitches, 52 strikes, and he departs with an 8-2 lead, and the Yankee bullpen will have to get 9 outs. Customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. So they don't want to push it with Sabathia. Get him out on a high note, leading 8-2. 6+ innings, just 4 hits, walked 4, 2 runs. The runner at first, his responsibility. Struck out 3. And threw 90 pitches, so a good outing for Sabathia. We'll see if the Yankee bullpen can get these 9 outs. It's asking a lot of this bullpen. I said before CC, no Yankee starter had gone 6. So this is the first time a starter pitched into the 7th, but asking bullpens to get 9 and 12 outs a game, it's eventually going to wear it down. So Kirby Yates takes over for Sabathia. He'll face Mike Aviles. There's a strike.
I think you can understand too with the lineup getting ready to turn over, especially Kinsler. It's a tough out, been tough on Sabathia today, and then Upton and Cabrera getting ready around the horn here.
Well, you could see the look on Sabathia's face. He was not happy about being taken out. Chasing Shreve up for the Yanks. Line drive, left field, coming on is Gardner, and he kicks the ball toward the line. Iglesias is heading to third, he'll stop right there, and Aviles on second with what could be a single, an E7, or just a double. Whatever the scoring is, it's second and third, nobody out.
Well, first of all, line drive smash on a ball in the heart of the plate. Gardner tries to come and get it. You know, I love my outfielders who are aggressive and try to make this play, even though you got a big lead. Gardner tries to pull up. I think that's still a double. I mean, that's a tweener. We'll see how it's scored. But
They scored a single and an E7, David.
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yankees in at the corners, back at short and second. Here's Anthony Gose. And a strike from Yates.
Good looking slider right at the knees there from Kirby Yates. Just missing. McCann holding it there. That's really the key for Yates, is if he can get that slider back, the depth on that slider.
That one gets away from McCann. Here comes Iglesias, and he scores. An athletic move by Yates to jump over Iglesias. Moving to third is Aviles, and the Yankees now lead 8-3.
Tough play, you know. It's not a play the pitchers practice a lot. It's actually how I blew out my knee in the minor leagues on a play just like that. But Yates jumping, avoiding contact. But runner and pitcher arrive at the same time. No real play, though.
Swing and a miss.
Looked like McCann got a little fooled on that pitch from Yates that got by him.
Count 3-2. And the pitch fouled away. Bottom of the 7th inning, Yankees have 14 hits. The Tigers have 5. Yankees lead 8-3, but Detroit with a runner on third, nobody out in the bottom of the 7th, 1 run already in. And that one is swung on and tipped into the glove of McCann for the first out. Strikeout for Yates, 1 away.
But you got to go get him. Nowhere to go. That's pretty much right down the middle, belt high. Foul tipped into McCann's glove.
here's Kinsler, who's 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored.
Kirby Yates talked about trying to get the feel for his slider, the difference between what they call wrapping it and throwing it. Sometimes pitchers tend to wrap it a little early, get it ready a little too early. And those are the ones that tend to hang rather than the ones that you snap out in front. Difference between wrapping and snapping.
Ground ball to second. Castro's there. That'll score a run. So an RBI for Kinsler, and now the Yankees are up 8-4. And that brings up Justin Upton.
Just seems like Kinsler hits the ball hard every time up. You know, he just gets good at bats. Very aggressive.
Upton's 0 for 3 tonight. Oh and 1. Bottom of the 7th. The weather has held up. Snowed early this morning. Heavily at times. We've had some flurries early in the game, but so far so good. The 0-1. 1-1.
It's one of the things I really like about sabermetrics, Michael, is kind of the identification of the luck factor. Batters trying to hit the pitch hard. Pitchers trying to promote soft contact. What happens numbers-wise when those two things go down? Tell the story on the luck side of things. Batters hitting in bad luck on a yearly basis. Batting average on balls in play. Line drive rate. Same thing for pitchers. Promoting a lot of soft contact but still giving up hits. Go through bad spells, unlucky spells. It's where kind of the old school and the new school kind of converge more than you think. A lot of people are, you know, the old school guys are down on sabermetrics, all nerdy guys, and the new school is kind of down on the old school scout. Oh, they don't get it. Really, there's a convergence where there's a common denominator, and it's really the luck factor in the game. Old school, you'd say, oh, this guy's in a tree. He's lucky. He's in a tree. He's got a magic wand. Everything he hits falls in for a hit. Soft contact, bloopers. Same with the pitcher. Oh, he gave up rockets tonight and he won this game. He gave up nothing but 7 line drives right at people. Well, sabermetrics is the one thing that can carve out that luck factor and give you a little bit of insight. It's not the end all. It's just information, Michael. It's just more information. There's a lot more that goes into it, the human element that goes into it.
And that's why sometimes you take a chance on a guy who hit 220 because you have the information that he did hit the ball hard and he hit in good luck, and you expect luck to turn at some point. The 2-2. Line drive, left field. That is a base hit for Upton. It'll get past Gardner and go to the wall, and Upton picks up a 2-out double.
Yankees have done a pretty good job handling Upton up till now. No luck involved here, just a line drive right to the wall, an easy stand-up double.
Well, McCann not thrilled with that outlook, and neither was Joe Girardi as Girardi goes to the bullpen with a runner on second and 2 outs.
Back here at Comerica Park in Detroit, and the Yankee offense got going early with a bomb from A-Rod. Plenty of bat speed there, and of course Ellsbury's big triple in the gap was nice. And oh yeah, Carlos Beltran, yeah, he's still got some bat speed. He belted that one way back, deep into the right field seats. So the Yankee offense alive and well, and they got a Yogi Berra on the scoreboard, number 8.
Well, the Tigers trying to creep back in this, and Chasen Shreves trying to stop it. CC started the inning, then Kirby Yates. Now you can see Chasen Shreve against Miguel Cabrera. Runner at second. 8-4 Yanks lead. Pitch up and away. 1-0. There's a strike. 1-1. Yankees have an off day on Monday. Give everybody a chance to take a breath. They're supposed to have an off day the first week. They got the off day on what was opening day, and then it resulted in what will be playing 6 games in a row if tomorrow night's game is played. And usually when seasons start, there are a lot of off days. You look at the Mets, they had 2 off days after the final game in Kansas City, and that was obviously caused by the Sunday night game in Kansas City. But to play 6 in a row right out of the bat is a real test. Pitchers aren't totally stretched out.
Exactly, especially in cold weather. It's hard to expect length from pitchers, starters early in the year in cold weather.
Still 1-2. Temperature remains 32 degrees here in Detroit. Shreve sets, checks the runner at second, and the 1-2 outside. 2-2.
This matchup here, as unconventional as it seems, something Girardi seems comfortable with. A lefty facing Miguel Cabrera, mainly because Chasen Shreve's best pitch is that splitter. Just as effective against righties as lefties.
And the 2-2. Grounded to Reyes. Gobbles it up, takes a couple of steps, fires to first, and Shreve comes on and does the job. But the Tigers scored 2 more runs on 3 hits with 1 man left. Why don't we take it to the 8th? Sunday scoreboard. Yankees lead this one by a score of 8-4, 8-14-1, 4-6-0. Yankees getting close to the heater in that dugout, kind of warm it up against the 32-degree temperatures. So the Tigers trying to creep back in this, but running out of time as we go to the 8th. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 in the Yankee order, starting with Brett Gardner. Kensing still in there. He came in to pitch the 7th inning. Aviles is in on the grass at third, guarding against the bunt. And a strike from Kensing, 0-1. Gardner today has 2 singles, also was hit by a pitch, and they struck him out looking in the 3rd. Dellin Betances up for the Yanks. Grounded to first. Bobbled slightly by Cabrera. He'll take it himself, 1 away. And that'll bring up A-Rod. He started the scoring today with a long home run in the 1st inning. We have not gotten a distance on it, but it had to be well over 400 feet into the bullpen. The center field side of the bullpen in left center. His first home run of the year, and A-Rod is just 12 home runs away from 700.
It's a big ballpark, 420 to dead center.
And David mentioned this yesterday. When it opened in April of 2000, it was even bigger because the bullpens didn't exist. So the back wall of the bullpen was actually where you had to hit the ball. So A-Rod's home run in 2000 would not have been a home run. Two and 0.
All the talk among the scouts in spring training, it's especially true with older players, is can they still catch up? Can they still catch up with the hard fastballs? Alex showed excellent bat speed on a fastball. So did Carlos Beltran. So in that regard, Alex and Beltran have passed early test.
Let's see if they green light him on 3-0. No, taking all the way, 3-1. After the home run, a fly ball to right. Then he struck out looking and then swinging. So 1 for 4 for Alex.
It's been an old school thought for years. Throw the hard stuff to the old guys and the soft stuff to the young guys.
3-2. And Alex works a walk with 1 out. That brings up Mark Teixeira. Mark today is 0 for 4. The only Yankee in the starting lineup who has not gotten on base. A strikeout, a fly ball to left, back to the mound, and a ground ball to second. Pitch outside, shift is on, 3 infielders on the right side.
It's kind of a trend, Michael. You know, these young pitchers, they come up, they keep their spring training numbers. Kensing keeping number 67. And I remember when I was a young guy, I couldn't wait to get what we called a real number.
Well, we mentioned yesterday when Luis Cessa pitched, 85, first time that's ever been worn by a Yankee in a regular season game. And I talked to Robbie Kakuza, and he said, I gave him the choice. You know, you give a guy a high number when he's trying to make the team, but when he made the team, I gave him the choice. But these guys, they feel there's some luck involved, so I'll just keep the high number, and that's exactly what he did with Sessa. And also, Robbie is, you know, he's up against it. There's a lot of retired numbers, so there aren't that many to give out.
Yeah, the Yankees are a little different level.
(3-1), and Teixeira is on base today. He works a walk. Throw to second. Oh, but time was called. Trying to keep A-Rod or get A-Rod sleeping. And a trip to the mound.
A-Rod is creeping.
But Laz Diaz wouldn't even make a call because he said time was out. There was a trip to the mound in the process of happening. So that's going to bring up McCann. McCann is 2 for 3 with a walk, 3 runs scored today. They did strike him out in the 6th inning, the only time they retired him. Yankees looking for more as the lead is now 4 runs, 8-4. Want to know? Tigers bullpen has Drew Verhagen warming. Tigers have 7 pitchers in the bullpen, 5 righties, 2 lefties. One.
It's a modern day bullpen. A lot of teams have 8 guys down there. It's the way it is now. So in other words, if you've got a young kid out there, numbers are in your advantage if you make him a pitcher.
Grounded to first. Cabrera goes to second one. Kensing covering, receives the throw to complete the 3-6-1 double play and end the threat. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning in Detroit. Yankees are up 8-4. VSiN postgame on Yes. You'll get all the highlights and analysis from today's game, plus the reaction from the clubhouse and Joe Girardi's manager's report. It's all coming up on the WB Mason Yankees postgame, only on Yes. Bob and Jack in the studio. Meredith Barakovitz here in Detroit. Dellin Betances comes on for the Yankees. He'll be their fourth pitcher. CC went 6+. Yates got 2 outs in the 7th, and Chasen Shreve came on to get the final out, a big one, getting Miguel Cabrera. So now Dellin Betances will pitch the 8th, and he'll deal with Victor Martinez leading off. Hyundai scoreboard, it's 8-4 Yankees lead. Victor Martinez, J.D. Martinez, and James McCann against the 6'8" right-hander. Yankees have left 9 runners on base, the Tigers 5. Yankees lead by 4. Shift is on, and there's a strike. 3 infielders on the right side for the Yanks. One and one. You'll see if Betances doesn't find the plate with the fastball, McCann slows him down and just has him throw the breaking pitch, which is equally effective. A knee buckler. Back to the fastball, 1 and 2.
Yeah, clearly, at times, probably more confidence when he needs to throw a strike using that breaking ball. You're right, Michael. Sometimes you'll have outings where that's the one pitch he can throw for a strike. We'll throw it any time in any count. And obviously the days when he gets both working, it's lights out. That's when he strikes out the side.
Fouled away.
In 2015, Dellin averaged 97 miles an hour on his fastball.
That was 98, above average, 3 and 2.
About 84 miles an hour on his curveball on average.
3-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. A 97-mile-an-hour fastball. 35 years ago today at Yankee Stadium, this made a lot of people of my age very, very happy. Bobby Mercer against Steve Comer of the Rangers hits a grand slam on opening day. A pinch hit grand slam in front of 55,123 fans, and just a thrilling moment at the stadium. I remember that. I was sitting in the upper deck that day, and remember Bobby was traded away from the Yankees right before they won the championships. Traded to the San Francisco Giants for Bobby Bonds, and then he ended up coming back in '80 and made a lot of people happy. Actually came back in '79. And then that big home run off the bench. 20 years old. One. Line drive left field. It's a base hit. J.D. Martinez picks up his first hit of the afternoon.
And you got to work with him in the booth, right?
And he turned out to be an even better guy.
It's one of the thrills for me, too, is meeting Bobby. And he actually worked my perfect game. And the way he called it at the end, just remarkable. I'll always be so thankful to have that memory.
Greatly missed by Yankee fans, everybody here at Yes as well. Here's James McCann. 0-1. Oh, and 2.
Betances definitely leads the league in knee buckles from opposing hitters, flinches.
Now Dellin, when it was all drawn up during the offseason, was going to pitch the 7th. Andrew Miller was going to pitch the 8th. And then Aroldis Chapman was going to close, but Chapman's serving a 30-game suspension, violation of the domestic violence policy. So everybody moves up an inning. So Andrew Miller is closing as he did last year, and Dellin's pitching the 8th as he did last year. And you can see over these first 5 games, and Girardi's trying to get a feel of what he has out there in the bullpen, and he's liked what he's seen of Barbado, and Chasen Shreve looks like he's back to form after that rough September last year. Kirby Yates, Luis Cessa, Ivan Nova got a 4-out save his first time out of the bullpen. Not a 4-out, 4-inning save, 12 outs. Two count on McCann, and the pitch. Outside, 3-2. And the pitch. Strike 3. Frozen on a breaking ball. McCann down looking. 2 outs.
Well, this is exactly what we're talking about. Betances shakes off McCann to throw this breaking ball on a 3-2 pitch when you absolutely have to get the pitch in the strike zone. So from a confidence standpoint, that tells you how Dellin Betances feels about the command of his breaking ball. And it's really a 50-50 proposition. Last year, he threw his fastball actually less than his breaking ball, about 51% of the time. Dellin chose a breaking ball, and 48, 49% of the time it was a fastball. So it really is basically 50-50.
Iglesias takes a strike.
Which is unusual for a guy who can throw the ball 97 miles an hour. Usually you would see a 70% usage on a fastball that you can throw 97, but Betances has so much confidence in that curveball. I guess he would call this a slider. It's probably in between, but what it is knee buckling, another flinch. As you see, McCann reads that pitch high and cannot pull the trigger.
The 0-2. Fouls the fastball away. Iglesias 2 for 3 today. '26-year-old shortstop out of Cuba. spoils that one. And the 0-2. Fouled off again, so Iglesias is battling. Crowd of 32,419 here at Comerica Park.
Well, you mentioned it the other night about Iglesias, Michael, that he was noted as really a defensive wizard. A great eye-hand coordination. He can put the bat on the ball.
Just keeps spoiling pitches. If there's one negative to the brilliance of Betances and all the strikeouts he rings up, he throws a lot of pitches. To strike people out, it's a minimum of 3. And usually you don't get him 1, 2, 3. So he's at 24 pitches and kind of limits sometimes your ability to use him on back-to-back days. Let's see, he rings up 36 pitches today. You might not want to use him tomorrow night.
Yeah, 40 walks in 84 innings last year.
Shattered that bat. Another foul ball. No one's picking up the barrel of the bat, which is right near the mound. Umpire's not moving. They're getting Iglesias a new bat. There, McCann now takes care of it.
Right off the end of the bat on a cold day. You can almost see the bat vibrating, you know. There's almost no vibration when a hitter makes contact on the sweep part of the bat. That's why they almost feel nothing in their hands. On a pitch like that, you feel all kinds of vibration.
And Betances finally wins that battle. He strikes out 3 Tigers in the 8th. No runs a hit. 1 man left. We take it to the 9th. It's 8-4 Yanks. And it works out to Yankees 8, Tigers 4 as we go to the 9th inning. Yankees trying to even up this 2-game set, or the second game. Trying to turn tomorrow into the rubber game. Drew Verhagen will take over for the Tigers. their fourth pitcher. Pelfrey started, then Buck Farmer, Logan Kensing, and Drew Verhagen. Now this would be the spot where you'd see Carlos Beltran. Carlos was 2 for 4 with a long 2-run home run in there. But Aaron Hicks took over defensively in right field, and now will get his first at bat of the afternoon.
And Aaron Hicks had a great day defensively yesterday, even though the Yankees lost and didn't get much offense. A couple of stellar plays from Hicks in right field, robbing Miguel Cabrera one time. Right on cue. The first one, belly flop. And this one, very nice. Sideways slide.
The 1-2. Chopped to third. Nice short hop by Aviles. And he gets Hicks for the first out. Here's Starlin Castro against Verhagen. Castro 2 for 3 with a walk today, scored a run. Average at a gaudy 474. Good way to start off with a new team. And Castro's hit in the 7th inning was his 1,000th career hit at the age of 26. And by the way, that was the age of Derek Jeter when he picked up his 1,000th hit. And in fact, Castro is a couple of days younger than Jeter was when Jeter picked up his 1,000th hit. Not often that you can pick up a player with those kind of stats at this age. But the Cubs are so overloaded with position players, and he was moved out of shortstop and had some more young players to take over, so he was available, and they needed some help in the bullpen. The Yankees traded them Adam Warren, and here he is. And then, you know, there was some lamenting, David. Well, how do you give up on Warren? He was so important. But you're not going to get a guy like Starlin Castro with 1,000 hits at the age of 26 for nothing. You're going to have to give up something for that sort of a return. And the Yankees gave up a good player, but they feel they got a really good player back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a second baseman.
Grounded in the hole, moving over is Iglesias. The strong throw, and he gets Castro, second out.
You know, the feeling in Chicago was that Addison Russell was the better shortstop. And Castro had lost a little bit of range in short and gotten a little bigger and stronger. And then that quick flip, they flipped positions in the middle of last year, and it worked out well. And all of a sudden, the Yankees have got a second baseman available.
And that kind of gave the Yankees a look-see at him at second base for 2 months, and he had his best offense after he moved away from shortstop. Speaking of shortstop, the Yankees shortstop, Gregorius lofts one, left side and out of play. Didi, RBI single in the second, sac fly in the fourth, fly ball to center in the fifth, and reached on a fielder's choice in the seventh.
You're right, Michael. Adam Warren was a valuable member of the Yankees his entire tenure here, especially last year as both a starter and reliever.
Ground ball up the middle. Nice play by Iglesias. He took a base hit away from Gregorius. That kid can play the position. So Verhagen comes on and gets 3 ground balls as the Yankees go down in order. We're going to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Tigers will try to rally. They're down 8-4. Let's take a look back. August 30th of 2006. Andrew Miller makes his major league debut, and he gets Derek Jeter to ground out the third. See the smile, the relief. And he was a first-round draft pick. When you look back at that draft in 2006, there's some stars that came out of that draft. How about the first round? Longoria the third pick, Miller the sixth, Kershaw the seventh, Lincecum the 10th, and Scherzer the 11th. Not a bad first round of the 2006 MLB draft. So it's not a safe situation, but the Yankees want to nail this one down. They bring in their closer, Andrew Miller, with an 8-4 lead, and he's going to face 8-9-1 in the Tigers order. We'll start it off with Mike Aviles. Andrew bounced around a while because he was a starter by trade and just never found it, was never able to harness all that talent. But when he was moved to the bullpen, something clicked, and he's been magnificent. Fly ball, right field, long run for Hicks. He makes the play to retire Aviles. Now, he was part of a huge package that the Tigers sent to the Marlins to get Miguel Cabrera and Dontrelle Willis. So, not too bad to be traded for Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, obviously Miller a big part of that trade, and so was Dontrelle Willis. Miguel Cabrera was a young budding superstar, but nobody knew how far he would take it.
Nick Castellanos pinch hitting for Anthony Gose, and he takes a strike. Had 4 hits yesterday, and there's a strike. Waves at that one, and he goes down on strikes, and the Tigers are down to their final out.
Sling and slider disappearing down and in. When thrown properly is unhittable. Miller, boy, he's so consistent last year.
Here's Ian Kinsler. Last chance for the Tigers. 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Also walked. And there's a strike.
What a sigh of relief for the Yankees after Miller with the big scare and the line drive off his non-throwing wrist. Clearly is just fine. It's not inhibiting him at all. This stuff is as good as ever right now. In one day, you lost Brian Mitchell and had a scare on Andrew Miller.
Fly ball. Right center, Ellsbury's there. He puts it away, and the Yankees put this one away by a score of 8-4. So they bounce back from a lackadaisical performance yesterday afternoon where they were shut out 4-0 on 3 hits. This time they pound out 14.